introduce our speaker. So our speaker is an interesting person. I can't wait to learn more about her as well. Her name is Hanane Anoua, and she is from Morocco, which means she is fluent in 3 languages, as all the Moroccans tend to be, Arabic, French, and English. She is a life and executive coach and a soft skills trainer. So the presentation today is called Soft Skills Matter, as they do, and she is a certified life and executive coach, an international speaker, I imagine in many languages, a lecturer in several universities, and expert in soft skills and women's empowerment in politics and society. She works with executives, political leaders, and women activists to dive deep into their inner selves and raise awareness so that they can overcome their limitations, gain confidence, and develop their leadership skills. And I'm sure that that applies not only to women, but to men as well, and everybody in between. Her passion, being true and exceeding expectations, are her unique added values. So I will waste no more time and just introduce Hanane Anoua.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. I'm sure we're going to spend some wonderful moments together. So I just want to start by asking some questions. I just want to get to know you more, because this will help me to adapt my discussions based on your needs and your expectations. Please stay connected, because I will be sharing some interesting links and free resources that can help you do mini assessments, and some resources that can help you in many aspects in personal growth, or maybe you can use those resources to help others. So my first questions, can you leave in the comments one word that reflects who you are? It can be patience, it can be passion, it can be persistence, it can be discipline, it can be anything. Just one word that you consider that reflects who you are. Curious, determined, nurturer, persistent, empathetic. Yes. Yes, good. My second question is, what soft skills you need to have to feel more confident or perform better? I know that we all need soft skills anyway, and it's a long life process. It's not just today or tomorrow. Become better listener. Question again is, what soft skills you need to have today to feel more confident or perform better? Patience, speaking, self-esteem, positive energy. Yes, sorry, go back. Okay. Assertiveness, listening versus speaking, confidence. Awesome. Okay, attitude, confidence, resilience. Okay, thank you. Empathy, focus. Awesome, thank you. My third question, I'm not going to bother you anymore. What are your expectations in regards to this training? I know I didn't talk yet, I didn't say anything, but just from the title or from the description of this training, what are your expectations? Communicate better, how to capitalize growth, learning, improvement, refinement, soft skills. Okay. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much for your responses. I just want to present myself and give you some context of where I came from and how I got into this journey of coaching and mentoring and training. I started my journey. I'm sharing this picture because it's a turning point in my career when I decided to transition to something different. After 11 years as a marketing manager in the corporate world, I worked in the telecom industry, in the real estate. And in 2015, I decided to switch to something different, which has to do with empowerment, coaching, and training, and so on. So I had a lot to overcome as a kid because of the loss of my right eye and the right sight also. So I picked up resilience today because, and all the things that I'm teaching today are the things that I struggled with in the past. And this picture reflects a lot of inner insecurities and doubt in me, because at that moment, I still didn't know really, I still was not really that confident person, because I was struggling from inside, because I was focusing more on what other people think about me instead of what I thought about myself. And that's why I am here, because everything, what I'm doing right now makes sense to me, because this is indeed the things that I had to overcome in the past. So this is my journey 1 year after that. I have been, well, I taught in many universities, national, international. I started my journey in empowerment in society and politics. I started to be very active in social media and meeting a lot of people from different cultures and from different countries. And this is, you may be thinking, what happened? What made me shift from that person who was struggling from self-esteem, from self-confidence, into someone who is not only confident and decisive about what she wants? So I believe that the way we perceive ourselves play a role, impacts the role we play in every single aspect in our lives. I had very negative perception about who I was, and that's why that negative perception in the past impacted my choices, my decisions, the people around me, everything. And I couldn't really take initiatives or take actions, because within me, I was not that person who could do what I'm doing right now. So what happened is that I changed my whole belief system. I mean, of course, this is not something that was easy for me. And I started doing everything that I feared in the past. I was so fearful of taking, of speaking in public. This is what I do very often today. Every single thing that I had developed fears about started to be my daily life. So the way we perceive ourselves, the way we perceive a certain situation or anything impacts not only our emotions, it impacts our choices, our decisions, everything. So I'm sharing my story because it is really the story of everyone. The character may be different, the setting may be different, but the narrative is the same. I met a lot of people and I coach a lot of people who were living in bubbles, like thinking about many limitations only that exist in their minds, that I don't have the skills, that I will not find a job, that I am not skilled enough, that I am not trustworthy person. And we keep living in our minds more than in reality. And guess what? What happened is that we lose a lot of opportunities, which we keep choosing things that are not aligned with who we are. And we keep taking actions really just to please maybe others, or maybe based on others' expectations. And I was there. I was really that person in the past who was taking decisions just because others expected me to do so. So why do we need soft skills? And what is the relationship between what I said and soft skills? So before answering the question, let me explain what is the difference between soft skills and hard skills. And the term soft skills, it differs from one country to another. Like here in the US, soft skills, we often talk about soft skills. In other countries, is life skills, is social skills. And so just to have this clarity in terms of these terms, maybe you already know them. So soft skills is really related to anything that has to do with the personality, and hard skills is all the skills that is needed and specific to a certain job. So soft skills are transferable. This is the advantage. When you develop your soft skills, wherever you go, whatever you do, you will use them. So why do we need soft skills? We need soft skills because it gives us more clarity of who we are. So I just see my example, for instance, I didn't have any awareness of what I wanted, of my strengths and weaknesses. And that's why I kept living in a bubble and repeating to myself a lot of things that existed only in my mind. So awareness encompasses many things. It encompasses your passions, your strengths, your weaknesses, your needs, what you strive to achieve in life. I mean, a lot of things. It can be your thoughts, your thought patterns, your emotions, the awareness of every single aspect related to your life. And why is that important? Because the more we know ourselves, the more we are confident also about our choices. I met a lot of people who have a lot of competencies, technical competencies, but they don't have the awareness of who they are. Like this first question that I asked you in the very beginning, when I do in my seminars or my workshops, a lot of people, they're unable to tell me one word about them, or they are ashamed, or they start laughing. Oh, well, we don't know. We really don't know. So who is going to know? Who's going to know? So if you're unable to answer this question, who are you, regarding your strengths and weaknesses, and maybe even your passions, it should take you less than 3 minutes to answer that normally. And that's why in some interview questions, when we ask these questions, the people, they are hesitant, or maybe they just prepare a speech that doesn't reflect really who they are. So self-awareness gives us also the clarity of what we want to do in our life. And this is one of the major benefits of soft skills. It gives you this clarity of what you want to do. And by the way, I just want to make sure you know the difference between soft skills and personal development plan. The soft skills are a list of skills needed. But of course, I mean, you don't need all the soft skills to perform in a specific job or in your life in general. You need the skills that reflect, you need the soft skills that are relevant to your goal, professional or personal goal. And then once you identify the soft skills that you need, you turn that into a personal development plan, which is the roadmap that takes you from you are right now into where you want to be. So that's why the soft skills is just, I would say, the list is the first step, is the identifications of the things that you need to develop and work on or improve. And then once you do that, you turn that into a personal development plan, which is a complete roadmap with all the details and actions you need to take, and how you can do that follow up and so on with the options that you have. And we can talk about it later. So soft skills gives you also the confidence. And very often when I talk about confidence, I don't talk about going and changing our wardrobe, or like in the case of a job search. Very often we talk, and Kati did really, I was listening to you, and I thank you for all the advices and all the wonderful things you shared. My approach is really holistic, and it comes from inside out, because very often when we are looking for a job, we focus on the LinkedIn profile, we focus on the resume and connecting with people. All these kind of things are really valuable. Still, we need to look at within us to see if there are any confusion, because sometimes we don't find a job because we are not valuable, or we don't have the competencies. We don't find a job because we have a lot of inner doubt within us, or what we are seeking is not aligned with what we really want to achieve, or or maybe we are giving up on a dream or something like that. So that confusion within us is one of the aspects that I work with my clients on, because it's part of the process also of finding a job. That's why for me, finding a job is an inner journey first, and then a journey from outside, which is the CV and all these technical aspects that you need to work on. And of course, it gives you soft skills, gives you better career opportunities, because the more you are confident, the more you have clear values. And how many people today, they are not operating from their values. They are doing things that really don't reflect who they are or what they want to do. And I was that person. In fact, I spent 11 years doing marketing, while my dream was to be a psychologist, because I struggled a lot since I was young with self-esteem, and I started reading about psychology just to find answers to my problems. And then here I am, after 11 years, I'm going back and studying everything related to social science and psychology and everything, because this is what I love to do. So the question is are you choosing really what it is really close to your heart, or what is really you are good at? So this is a very important question. So another aspect about soft skills, and the element that I'm mentioning here, is just the key elements, but soft skills, of course, provide you with a lot more. And resilience is one of these aspects that is very important, because we can have the awareness, we can have the clarity of the goals, we can have confidence, but things will not go always as expected. So we need that skill to come back, to bounce back, and then to look within us and to see what didn't function and why, and to reset and keep going. And of course, this requires a lot of awareness and clarity, and then patience, and a lot of things. So one of why we need soft skills is that the world is changing also. The world is changing. There is a lot of paradigm shift in every single aspect. And the way we communicate, well, look, we became a small village. Everyone is connected to everyone. The way we communicate, the way we work changed. So if we don't have this ability to keep learning and to keep adapting to the changes, if we do nothing today, you will have to do a lot in the future. If you don't invest on yourself and keep really learning new skills on a daily basis in the future, you will find yourself really far from your goals. So as a teacher, or as a coach, or as an executive, whoever you are concerned by continuous improvement, because the challenges of today is not going to be the challenges of tomorrow. And then your success will depend on your soft skills. This is one of the research conducted by Harvard, the Carnegie Foundation, and Stanford Research Center. One of the things that they found is that based on a research, that 85% of job success comes from your soft skills, and only 15% refers to your hard skills. And this is something that we can understand, because today you may have the technical skills to operate as a teacher, as a lawyer, as a doctor, but what really matters is the way you communicate to people, your empathy, your compassion, your vibes. How many times you work with people and you say, hey, I really like this person. I really connected with that person very well. So you see, and I am one of the people, like I choose people based on also on their soft skills. I have based on my journey with medical, I have a continuous, I would say, need to keep, well, this is just related to my eye issues, and I have to do this regular visits to see doctors in regards to my case. And when the first thing that I am searching in this relationship, it's not where the doctor studied or what kind of achievements he did, but the way he talks to the patients. This is really important to me, and it should be important to most of us, like the way we talk to people, the way we listen to people, the way we interact with people, the empathy, the compassion, the vibes, the attitude, maybe the everything, like the things, the intangible things really matter. So, and Cassie, I remind you of this quote that you just said, we hire for hard skills and we fire for soft skills. Indeed true, because you may have the best degree ever, and you may master very well your technical abilities, but still you need communication specific, especially in specific industries. Like a teacher, for instance, everything is about soft skills. Everything. I have my daughters, sometimes they come back from school either very happy or disappointed, depending on how they were treated by their teachers. Is really, really very important. The way you communicate with a kid or even an adult or a teenager, it can really uplift or drag down the person. And this is really, really important to all of us. So I have a question for you. Do you think that soft skills are innate abilities, or they are skills that can be developed? Can be developed? Yes. Mm-hmm. Both? Well, from my experience, indeed, it can be developed as long as we have the willingness to go and learn and also leave our comfort zone, because anything today can be learned indeed. So, okay, you may be wondering, okay, now we need soft skills, but what shall we focus on? So here I want to share with you some studies and research. This is the top 10 soft skills according to World Economic Forum. It's I've been working on this list for since 2015, and this list didn't change much except for the classifications. Like you see here, you can Google it and you will find a lot of information regarding the soft skills, the top soft skills in 2015, 2020. This one is 25, and the one thing that keeps popping up here is emotional intelligence, resilience. Well, by the way, emotional intelligence encompasses resilience itself. Emotional intelligence is a lot more than just self-control. It's about resilience, stress management, social also influence. So it's all that. So that's why resilience also, that's why I wanted to focus on resilience today, even if I am talking about soft skills in general. And here, the top 10 soft skills according to LinkedIn. This is the most sought after soft skills among employers: communication, organization, teamwork, punctuality, critical thinking, social skills, creativity, and so on. And this is other soft skills: empathy, adaptability, motivation. Of course, I mean, you would find all these lists in the web, and then you already know about them. So here, maybe you may be wondering, am I supposed to learn all these skills to perform better? Of course not. I mean, there are fields where we need more empathy and compassion, and there are fields where we need more collaboration and active listening. So it depends on your goal. It depends what kind of interactions you have and what kind of also in what field you are operating. So for me, from my experience of skills as a process, it's a lifelong journey. It starts from within. There is something that we need to do first. It's like a prerequisite before getting into something else. We cannot talk about communication if you don't have the awareness. We cannot go and choose like a seminar or a training in leadership if we are struggling with confidence. So for me, the soft skills is there are like basic things that we need to know first before getting into any other aspects. We cannot be we cannot have the skills of communicating very well with ourselves if we don't if we cannot learn the skills to communicate with people if we don't have the skills to communicate with ourselves. We cannot teach others resilience and motivation if we're struggling with motivation and resilience. And you see, this process, I have to work on myself first before doing it with my students, doing it with my clients. So I spent many years working on myself, and it doesn't mean that I stopped. It's a lifelong journey. So skills for me, it's every day I'm learning new things. Learning is part of who I am, and it should be part of everyone. And I know that most of you are in this lifelong journey. So awareness is the first key to, by the way, I have some links of assessment, personality assessment I'm going to share at the end. This personality test gives you the top 10 strengths that you have. And then there will be other assessment I'm going to share with you. So awareness is really the core of every single thing we would like to improve about our personality, either leadership, communication. We need to be aware of our patterns of thoughts, of our emotions, of our thoughts, of our skills and competencies, and so on. And there are different ways you can develop this awareness. My first recommendation to you is mindfulness. Mindfulness, it's not yoga or stopping the mind, it's just pausing from time to time, like at least the 15 minutes a day or twice a day, and then reflecting on who you are, what would you like to do, and connecting with yourself. I have wonderful website to share with you about mindfulness. This person was an ex-teacher professor at the University of Boston, and then he developed this free website resource, complete 7 weeks program for anyone who would like to develop the skills of mindfulness. And it gives you, like every week, every single week, it gives you all the practices that you need and everything. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I cannot talk. I will let you discover this complete training, which usually costs more than 1,000, but he's doing it for free. He's retired, but he's doing it for free for anyone who would like not only to learn about mindfulness, but who would like also to teach mindfulness to others, because you can be also certified. So one of the things that helped me is mindfulness, is spending time with myself and practicing and just reflecting on what I want to do. You can also ask the feedback of at least 3 people that you trust who can give you an objective feedback of who you are. You can also take these personal assessments of your top strengths and personality. I have also another link of kind of MBTI free test that you can take. And you can also share that with your students and people. And information, I believe that information, when it is not shared, it doesn't mean anything. So I know that you have a lot of resources and you may already have these resources, but sharing it also with others, your students, your team, whoever, is very, very important. So here, I would like you to take this exercise. This is the basic dimensions of growth. This is whatever, it can be different depending on the person. It can be career, family, friends, health, personal growth. It can be money. It can be spiritual, fun, recreation, whatever. So it depends on you and what your life looks like. I would like you to stop a moment and think of the 3 dimensions here. Well, first try to see see how satisfied you are with each area, and give a score from 1 to 10, and then while 10 is the highest and 1 is the lowest, try to score first each area of your life here, and then the second question is try to see where you score the lowest, which also means this is what you need to focus on. I think we need to, I would recommend Paul to help me do the chat room, and then let's see how we can score these areas of our lives, and then see where you need to focus on. Like the 3 areas you need to focus on, or the 1 area that you need to focus on.
Paul, are you able to put us into the chat rooms, into the breakout rooms?
And of course, once you pick up an area, you need to go into details, because career is very general. So career today, is it about finding a new job? Is it getting promoted? Is it about a transition? Family, is it an issue? Are you struggling with something that is related with your relationship to your parents, siblings, a couple, friends? Health, what kind of health issues? Is it diet, exercising? Is it something emotional, mental, all the kind of things? So try to be very specific. The career is anything here is just the area in general, but you can go into details to write down really what you are struggling with, or you don't have to struggle to work on that. What area you need to improve, like personal growth. Maybe some of you need to develop more, to go for more personal development, because either they will transition into a new job, which requires new skills, new technical skills. So what do you need to learn for your technical skills? I'm coaching someone who just transitioned to a new job, and one of the things that we are working on is all the options that he has in order to improve all these technical skills. The spiritual can be your sense of purpose. It can be your relationship with your mission. It can be anything. So just be specific about these areas.
Hanane, how many minutes do you want?
We can do like 5 minutes. Yes.
Perfect. Paul, did you get that?
And of course, you can reflect on that later. I mean, if you want to go through details.
Paul, are you there?
Okay, well, we can, if Paul is not here, maybe for some reasons, we can just, you can leave in the chat, like what are the lowest, where you scored lowest, what are the 3 areas or the 2 areas that you need to focus on. And by the way, some areas are majors, because improving your career or your financial may improve also your health and personal growth and family and friends. So that's why knowing where to put your focus is very, very important. So improve personal growth, spiritual, financial, okay. Family and friends. improve financial and technical skills. Career, top 3 areas, family, health, career, in order to improve.
Okay, I'll try this. I don't have my earpieces. I gotta take the headphone completely off to talk to you. Are you there?
Yes. Improve career,
How many
pursue
in the room?
growth. Yeah, we can do like how many? 3 persons?
Paul, did you hear that? There are put 3 per breakout room for 5 minutes.
So here the question you need to answer, what are the 3 areas you'd like to improve? Which one would you like to start with? And what are the 3 soft skills you need to acquire to improve these areas? Or maybe the hard skills, because I noticed that some of you also need to work on some hard skills. And this is the areas. And of course, these areas, you can adapt them depending on your lifestyle. It can be, you can add community service. Some of you, maybe they have a value of community service. It can be anything else. So feel free to adapt these dimensions or areas of growth.
Go out there and do stuff. Uh-oh.
Okay.
I mean, once you're motivated, then that kind of covers a lot of territory right there. I mean, if you're not really into it or just don't feel like doing it some days, it's that just kind of the whole castle kind of collapses at that point.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what
And I'm not some days.
well,
This meeting is being recorded.
Hello.
We felt like we needed more minutes, Hanan.
Sorry?
We needed 5 more minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know what happened. I mean, I just sorry to interrupt. So let's keep going. So knowing your priority today is very important because one of the expectations or the commands that I saw earlier is how to develop focus. We develop focus when we know what are our priorities, and not only our priorities, but also to identify the things or the people that are disrupting us. So one of the things that I also do is that whenever there are things or people disrupting me, or sometimes I will have to really, this is not something mean to do, but this is something that's called self-care. You need to focus and be around the people really who can uplift you, people who are positive, can help you in your journey, not people who can drag you down. So be aware of your priority is number one step to develop focus. So always, for me, there are 5 steps in general: is to set up an intention or to have a clear goal, is to develop the mindset. Everything is about mindset, is to know about your priorities and make sure that these priorities are aligned with your values, with what you really, really want, and you develop habits. And of course, without resilience, we cannot achieve all that. So your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. That's why every single aspect I do in my coaching and my training is focused on the mindset, because I really believe either looking for a job or improving your health or whatever you would like to do, it has to do with the mindset. It has to do with the mental strength, because having a goal today, you may have defined a goal today, but to keep going, you need the mindset, the right mindset in order to achieve all these goals, because sometimes we have setbacks, we have failures, we do mistakes, we have deceptions, and then it's the way we operate from inside, the quality of our thoughts and the things we nurture every day is what is going to help us to come back and reset everything. So how to develop positive intelligence? Positive intelligence is the balance, in fact, between, well, we all have a side of our mindset that self-sabotages us, and we have a positive side of our mindset that keeps us going and keeps motivating us, and so on. This is a concept that has been developed by Hanane Shirzad, who is a professor at Harvard University, Stanford University, I'm sorry, and who is my mentor, and also I partner with, I am one of the partners working on his program of positive intelligence. So can you leave in the chat what is the percentage of time your mind is acting as your friend or acting as your enemy? Well, we all know that sometimes the problem that we face is a lot about our mind. And how can you know is when you are very, very busy thinking, and not acting. 65. Okay. Well, as long as there is a balance in the mornings and the Sundays as my enemy, your mind is acting as your friend. Anyway, there should be at least a balance, because when 80% of the time your mind is self-sabotaging you, it's a problem. And how can you test your positive intelligence, or how can you test how can you give yourself this score? I will share in the chat an assessment of his website that gives you exactly that gives you an assessment of where you are. So here, what you get when you do the assessment, it gives you a score related to all the saboteurs that interfere with your daily life. And these 9 saboteurs exist in all of us, but in different dimensions, and they have different scores. So unfortunately, I cannot go into details of that, but the stickler is being a perfectionist, is this voice inside you that keeps telling you that you need to be perfect, that you need to do things right and all the time. And sometimes you are spending a lot of time on doing something and ignoring maybe things that are even more important. So the stickler is sometimes what disrupts us. You see, sometimes I said earlier that we may have people and things that disrupt us, but in reality, most of the thing that disrupt us is our minds, is this mindset or this inner voice that keeps telling us we need to be perfectionist, we need to please people. The pleaser is the voice within you that sometimes gives you tells you that you need to say yes, and because you don't want to deceive someone, you would like to be nice to someone. And what happens is that you do that at the expense of your health, of your time, and maybe money. So the purpose of this assessment is to be able to identify these saboteurs that you have, and then to focus on maybe the 3 or 4 top saboteurs that you have and work on them. You cannot change or improve something that you don't know. You cannot develop positive intelligence if you don't know what you are like, what your mind is busy doing or wondering. So the hyperachiever is that is the people who are all the time trying to be busy and to achieve more and to do more, but sometimes it's too much. You see, I'm not telling you that this kind of things are not good for our life. Being a stickler perfectionist is good, but it should be limits. Pleaser, yeah, you should be nice to people at some point, but you should be more nicer to yourself first. The hyperachiever, we are all, if we are here, is that we would like to achieve more and to do better and to become more. But also there is limits. So playing the victim, you see the other saboteurs, you will get all the details, because once you do the assessment, you will get a description, not only of every saboteur, but the reason behind that, and even how that started from your childhood, and the reason you developed that stickler or pleaser, and why, and everything. So in order to control the saboteurs, we need to develop the right mental strengths. And research proved, and maybe you already know that mental strength is like physical strength. We go to the gym, and then we have to develop physical strength, and it will take us at least 3 months to start getting a result. So what about mental strength? How can you know, since we cannot look at our brains, how can we know that we develop the mental strength? Is that when you start seeing yourself more in responsive mode than in a reactive mode, is when you start taking decisions based on who you are and what others expect from you. Is then when even in a very stressful situation, you still keep cool and keep going. And this is when mindfulness can really help you in developing that mental strength. And if you are a coach, I noticed that there are some coaches with us. There is a grant, a free training that Shirzad is offering to coaches that you can also register and go through this training, which offer you also the technology and then the application to follow every day in order to develop this mental strength. So I will send this link, and then you connect to the website and then you register. I developed this approach, the T approach, in every coaching aspect I do, because one of the things that three components of mental strength is the ability to be aware of our thoughts and emotions and actions. The T stands for the thoughts, and E stands for emotions, and A stands for actions. And this will help you for yourself and for your students or for whoever you are working with. I mean, today our thoughts is just a reflection of the perception we develop on a daily basis regarding situations, or maybe these perceptions we already developed based on our education or our experiences and deceptions and so on. So our thoughts are just the translation of our values, the way we were raised and educated, the perception we develop throughout our lives. And sometimes we feel bad, okay? We feel very bad in a certain situation and we are not even aware what's going on in our minds. So in order to develop this mental strength, we need to have the ability, when we start feeling bad, to go back and check what happened. Suppose someone sent you an email and you start feeling so angry, and then you didn't control that anger. What happened is that right away you may send back another aggressive email, and then maybe or you will overreact, and then the situation will not go very well. So this breaking this process into three elements is one of the things that can help you just be aware of what's going on. You call someone, for instance, if you call someone and he doesn't respond, or maybe you meet someone and he's ignoring you, you may start developing some misinterpretation. Oh, why he didn't talk to me? Maybe maybe I will be fired. Maybe I'm not the right fit, or maybe after an interview, someone doesn't look at you in the right way, and you start feeling very bad. You see, you start developing the thoughts which will impact always the way you feel about yourself, and then that will influence your actions or reactions. And it's very important to be aware of this process, because once we are faced with a situation, we develop a perception, or we already have the perceptions, because this is through which we also develop our thoughts and words and everything. So the way the situation, let's suppose the situation is that you had an interview, and then your beliefs tells you that you're not going to get the job because something went wrong, and then you start feeling very bad, and then maybe you will withdraw, and then maybe stop applying and so on. Knowing about this process is very important, because you can always go and reframe your perception or the way you look at the situation. The person didn't answer in the phone, not necessarily because he didn't want to, but maybe because he's not feeling good, or maybe there is something that's prevented that person to take the phone. You didn't have, the person didn't look at you the right way, maybe because it has something to do with him and not you, not necessarily you. So very often we feel bad and trapped, not because of situations and not because of people. Most of the time because of what we keep telling ourselves. I myself was there. I was that person who kept telling myself very bad things. I am not trustworthy. I am ugly. I was looking only at my scars on my face, and I'm not valuable. And you know what happened? I kept developing these thoughts, and whenever I look at the mirror, I was feeling so bad about myself. And I even developed some pains everywhere because of my anxiety. And then you see, once I started to be aware of this process, I had to do two things, and either to go back and start changing my beliefs about who I am, or taking different actions. Like instead of staying isolated alone and then giving up on yourself and thinking that, oh, you're not going to get that and you're not going to achieve that goal and so on, you go and do something different. And this is an excellent way to rewire your brain and then start and change your perspective about the situation. So the question here, is it really possible to shift from negative mind to positive mind, even in tough challenges? Well, this is something that I learned even before I go through this training with Dr. Shamin Shirzad, because I experienced situations in the past where there was nothing positive. Like the loss of my eye, I had to spend days and days in hospitals, and then I had constantly pain, and I had to find the positive. I remember I spent 4 months in a hospital in Boston, the Eye and Ear Infirmary Hospital, and there was nothing positive. And then the only option that I had is to keep focus and find something to focus on, like a positive side of that. And I started going to the halls and talking to people, learning of things about them, just to distract myself and to redirect my thoughts to something different. Sometimes it's tough. The negative emotions that we have are good. They can serve us. I'm not telling that the negative emotions cannot serve us, but how long they're going to stay matter, because the longer, the more problems and health problems we're going to get. Sometimes we need these negative emotions. We need these saboteurs. They're good at some point, but when they are prolonged, when they stay very long, it becomes not only a mental issue, it becomes a lot of physical issues also. Anything that is mental will certainly impact not only the chemistry, but every cell in our body. And this is how we also attract diseases and even cancer. There are a lot of cases that have been, I think you know about that. So a brain in a positive mode is 31% more productive than in a neutral or stressed mode. A happy person is health as sick, 6 times less absent, 9 times more loyal, and 55% more creative. I am talking about this aspect today, because I consider positive thinking, the react to situation, is more important than anything else. Because looking for a job, you may have already the right skills, you may already have the hard skills, you may already have the soft skills, by the way, but sometimes our vibes, our negative energy can be the obstacle, really the obstacle of getting what we want. You can call it the law of attraction, you can call it whatever you want, but this is truth, because the more positive, negative energy we have, the more we repel opportunities in our lives. So that's why working on your resume, your LinkedIn is great. And then working on your soft skills, also your communication skills and so on, is also great. But what you need to know is that the way you feel about yourself, the vibes you nurture, the thoughts you nurture will be reflected outside. People will feel it. When you are in an interview and you are so stressed, overwhelmed, frustrated, people will feel it. And that would be an obstacle in getting that job. So there is, every day, there is either you are in resistance or acceptance, or maybe in general in your life. When you are in resistance, you are in a mood like, why this happened to me, why I didn't find this job, why this person did this to me, and you keep reacting and reacting and reacting. And when you are in the acceptance mode, you are more focused, okay, I have this problem, I have this issue going on in my life, how can I learn from it? How, instead of reacting and being just that person angry and reacting from a survival mode, you are responding, focusing on how you can move on and learn from that mistake or from that failure. And we all know I mean, I failed so much in my life. That's why I'm here, because I kept learning from my mistakes. I mean, for me, mistakes or failure are part of the process. And you see, when I left the corporate world, and I spent some months looking for a job, and I realized that sometimes we don't get a job not because we don't have the competencies, is that sometimes this is not what we want, and we keep forcing and trying to go for that goal, while inside, deep down, this is not what's really what we want. And guess what? When there is this confusion between the conscious and the subconscious, between what you want and what you really want, you're not going to get that job. And this is what happened. So I just want to tell you that today I shared my story with you, and then writing your own story will depend on how the narrative, the perception you have about yourself, the confidence you have about yourself, the way you talk about yourself. So I just want to make sure that you write positive things about who you are, or if you cannot, it's never late to change your perspective. The people who are takes them longer to find a job, for instance, sometimes they give up, they start doubting themselves, they start feeling really not comfortable during that process. But I believe there is a reason behind every single experience in our life, even our struggles. I experienced extreme chronic pain in my life, and I still was asking myself, what can I learn from this experience? And of course, in extreme situations like what I had, sometimes we don't find the strength to look at the positive, but sometimes you don't have a choice. And all these struggles helped me today to see my inner value, to develop more compassion toward people and more empathy. So let's wrap it up this way, that everything has a reason in your life, even your struggles, and the way you write your story matter really, and your soft skills as well. So I think I am open to your questions, and then thank you for listening to me. I will share all the links here.
Good. That was one of the questions, was the name of your mentor and the links you were going to provide. Everybody's very interested in those.
Yes. Well, the first link that I shared with you is the personalities and a free MBTI test. That you can do it for yourself. Well, anything that you would like to share with others, make sure you do it, you practice it, you apply it, because everything I shared in this presentation, I know that most of you know about it. But the most important thing is not to know, is to apply. Is to apply this shift of perspective, is to apply these soft skills, is to be that person before teaching others or empowering others. The second link is the top strengths that gives you, is a website from the Positive Psychology Institute. And the third one, the Palouse Mindfulness, is a complete 7 weeks training of mindfulness with amazing resources, links, books, practices, everything. Something that can help you do the practice for yourself and teach mindfulness for others. And the last one is positiveintelligence.com. The assessment is the website of Dr. Shirzad from Stanford. If you are interested only by doing the training and getting access to the application, you can go and then ask for the grant, the free grant. I don't know if it's open right now, but anyway, do the assessment. That will give you an idea about the saboteurs that you are struggling with right now, and then you can work on them. And if you are a coach, you can also get access to this grant, which is for 7 weeks also. And you see, most of the trainings that I got, either from mindfulness or positive intelligence, they have like 6-7 weeks duration. Why? Because the mind, this is the research proof that we can really shift our perspective and rewire our brain during this 6-7 weeks, and then it can be really very helpful to reset everything and then change perspectives. And I have another link. Anyone would like to work on LinkedIn, there is a blog on LinkedIn that offers a variety of soft skills training. You can access to this link. It's emotional intelligence, it's resilience also. It's resilience. Resilience for me starts from the acceptance of what you are going through. Yes. I hope this will be helpful. I'm sure that connecting to this website and then applying all those can help you tremendously, as it did with me. And I use all these resources not only to apply them in my life, but to teach them and then to empower others based on that.
I thank you so much for this. I think part of one of the things we were talking about in our breakout room was that when you are working, you get a lot of positive support from the role. You know, you're in a leadership role, so it feeds your self-image, it feeds your confidence, your leadership ability. You're surrounded by people that are that you enjoy, that are supportive and encouraging and positive, and you collaborate with these people. And then when you lose that self-image, and especially when you're looking for another job and you think, well, this won't be hard because I've got this record of success, I've been successful, and I should be able to leverage that into another job. And then if with every time that you don't get the interview or you don't get the offer, and it erodes your all of those positive things that you've built up over your career. So it erodes your confidence and your motivation. So a person in my room was saying it's so hard to consistently stay motivated in the face of rejection. And so having these tools to fight those negative impulses is very important, and more crucial when you're unemployed than any other time, I think. You could, because if you go for an interview and you have lost the confidence in yourself and your ability, you will not be able to communicate that to other people. You can't convince them, persuade them that you can do the job if you are filled with self-doubt. And so being that positive self is so difficult when all around you are negative, external negative influences.
Absolutely. I mean, I really share your perspective. Sometimes it's very tough to be positive when everything is negative. Being positive doesn't mean that you are happy and then you are satisfied of your life. Being positive is accepting where you are and doing your best to get where you would like to be. Being positive is sometimes it's putting a smile on your face, even if you don't feel like smiling. Being positive is sometimes forgiving others for things, even if you don't feel like forgiving, because you have to do it for yourself. There are many situations where we can be negative, either finding a job or living in an environment that is completely negative, or being faced with a big deception in our lives, and we have still to move on. So, okay, the question that I always ask myself, well, being negative is more risky. Being negative attracts more negative. Being negative will attract health issues, anxiety, depression, whatever. So it's not gonna work. So being a positive, maybe it's something that is better for you to do it than being in a negative mode. And of course, being positive, it doesn't mean that, okay, life is wonderful and then I am cheerful and I am smiling. It's just accepting that things may go wrong in your life, and then focus on what you can control. Because the thing that you can, okay, if you're looking for a job and you don't have the resources and then you still didn't find a job, what can you do? Give up on yourself? No. So the being positive is the mindset of accepting where you are and then keep going despite the hurdles, despite the challenges. Is waking up, especially when you are a mother, when you have kids at home, and I was there also. So is to wake up and keep going. Setting a plan, keeping focus every day. Well, this is something that I need to do, because you see, there are like, you need to apply at least 10 per day. So hitting that goal, learning new things every day, and keep going. But doesn't mean that things will not happen one day. I mean, I can talk about this for many hours, but you see, I learned something, is that in every situation, I ask myself, is this something I can control? No, skip it. What can I control? This and this and this. Okay, let me focus on what I control. I can improve myself. I can apply this, and I can do my search, and I can learn new skills, and I can connect with people, and I can develop new strategies of networking, and I can do this. But not finding a job is not something I can control. But I can control my vibes. I can work on my emotions, and I can work on my energy, so that I can be that person who maybe I can give myself a chance to get hired instead of being dismissed.
I think that all of that is very important. Understand that the whole serenity prayer, you know, what do you control? What do you have to accept, and what can you improve? And also surrounding yourself with positive people who will not just who will be honest with you, who will be authentic with you, and good sounding boards. I think all of those things are really helpful. This was excellent. I want to thank you so much. Is there anybody else who has a question? Yes, Ruth Ann. Now, Ruth Ann she was not, for some reason her mic's not working all of a sudden. So she did say that she has a question about resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, if we just accept everything, how do we overcome what's not going right? How do we overcome things if we just accept everything?
Well, this is a question that is often asked to me. Acceptance doesn't mean that you need to give up, or just like you admit that it is the other person is right, or even if you're not happy with that. Acceptance is just acknowledging where you are, and then knowing where to focus on instead of going and then complaining. Because you see, every day our mind, we are either in a survival mode, and this is when we are in a survival mode, we are in resistance, and this is the part of the brain, this lowest part, the reptilian brain, is what is, we are functioning from here. And when we are functioning from here, we don't access our cognitive capacities. And that's why sometimes we are less motivated, and we are not in a creative mode, and we cannot access to reasoning and take good decisions. When we are in acceptance mode, the brain is operating from this part, like the upper part, which is the rational brain, which allow us to think rationally, to take good decisions, and to connect with who we are, and then to let go of the things that really bothers us. So acceptance doesn't mean, okay, this is something that I'm not happy with, but I accept it. It's just admitting that you can do nothing. Okay, in my case, for instance, I just would like to give an example. In my case, acceptance didn't mean that I need to give up on my health. It's just admitting that I cannot have my eye back and my right side back, instead of resisting and keeping myself busy thinking why this happened to me, why I had to experience this as a kid, and why I had to go through all that, and why this and this and this, which made me feel even worse and feeling very bad about myself. Acceptance is now telling myself, okay, now it's happened. What can I do to feel better?
Mhm.
What can I do to get where I want to be? What can I do to improve my self-care? It depends on the goal. Like in case you are searching for a job, for instance, I know there are a lot of doubts. Acceptance is just, okay, I didn't find a job, but how can I use that time that I have right now in order to get maybe a better opportunity in the future? Learning new soft skills, working on my communication, working on my confidence, raising looking at my inner value. A lot of things is okay. Acceptance doesn't mean just to move on and give up on everything. It's just it's just changing the focus. Instead of going and dwelling on what happened or what things going wrong in your life, you redirect those thoughts into what can I do to get where I want. Hope that answered your question.
I think that was great advice. People who've been incarcerated or whatever, in prison for whatever reason, when they accept it, it does not mean they give up. It means this is the current reality. I have to work within this reality. But the antidote to despair is action. I read that after we lost an election that we didn't want to lose.
Yeah.
So the antidote to despair is action. It just means that you have to act. The action is huge. And when you say, these are the actions I'm going to take with regard to my situation, it does give you more motivation.
Exactly.
Because now you have a plan of action.
Yes, well, we have a lot of examples. That's why I am fond of reading the stories of others. I even created a live show on LinkedIn that is called The Path to Resilience, and I'm connecting thought leaders from everywhere in the world to talk about their stories of pain. And lately I interviewed someone from Boston who is a CEO, a very successful person. He had a health issue and he lost his leg lately, like 6 months ago. And every day he cannot drive. He no longer can drive. His life changed drastically. His health issues impacted every aspect of his life. Mm-hmm. So, okay, in this case, what is acceptance? Doesn't mean that resistance is waking up every day and say, oh my God, I lost my leg. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then, you keep resisting and you will see the health of issues you're going to attract. But that person, I was amazed every day. He's grateful. I lost my leg, but I have another one. I lost my leg, but I have my kids supporting me. So instead of looking at what he lost, he's looking at what he has. Instead of looking at what hurted you in the past, what deceived you in the past, you look at what you love, what you would like to achieve, what you thrive to achieve also. So look at the story of Nelson Mandela. He spent more than 27 years in prison. For me, he's a model, and he didn't came out from prison to keep talking about what happened, but he started talking about forgiveness, compassion, how we can move on. the story of Oprah, I mean, I can maybe talk about a lot of stories that I read about. Oprah, for instance, also she had a lot of issues when she was a kid, and but her life was not talking about what happened to her, but using what happened to her to turn it into a strength, a sense of purpose, something bigger than her. I mean, we all, I believe that we all need to look at what we are struggling with, either mental, emotional, whatever, and then turn that either into a sense of purpose or use it just to let go of a situation that we cannot control.
Another thing about unemployment, I always think that everybody should go through some period of unemployment so that they learn the soft skills, they develop the soft skills when they go back into the workplace, and especially if they become managers, supervisors, hiring managers, they understand they are more empathetic, they are more compassionate, they understand what this process, the impact that this process has on family dynamics. And so this is like graduate school in developing soft skills. I think you come out of unemployment with a greater sense of working with other people, and not so much a self-absorption as being compassionate and empathetic to others.
Yeah, because, well, I believe that when you are looking for a job, like for instance, people, they may have a gap in their resume. And I believe, you see, when we talk about communication is not only what we say. Communication is how we say it, how we talk about ourselves. I believe that the same, you can have a gap, you can have anything in your resume, but the way you talk about yourself is very important to the recruiter. You may have that gap, and then the way you talk about it with a lot of doubts and insecurities, it's not going to be the same energy when you talk about it with confidence. And that's okay, because look at this pandemic. We didn't expect that we will go through for more than 2 years this locking down, and everything changed, and we have no idea how we would survive, maybe. But this is how life goes. Sometimes it goes unexpected. And I believe the way we communicate about, the way we talk about ourselves and experience an interview is more important on the facts. You may lose a job, you may even be fired. You may, like when I left the corporate world, my position as a regional marketing manager was liquidated because, well, because of downsizing and everything. But I took a decision to talk about it, not to say I left or anything, because I believe I had the confidence in my capacities, and I wanted, the way I talked about it was very important. Well, after that, I gave up on working on the corporate world. But the idea behind it is that the idea is we need to raise this confidence from inside, because any doubt from inside can be felt somehow. And the recruiter, even online, virtual or real, can feel that resistance within you. I mean. Mm-hmm. It's very, very important to work on ourselves from inside before taking actions, because our actions will be just the translation of the emotions we hold and the perception we have about ourselves. Really very important. And that vibes that we convey and that message that we convey also reflects our inner confidence